the food crisis one of Africa's major concerns. How would you describe the need for such a strategy?
First of all, as we are known that is Egypt one of the major case for Africa, especially for European and all the world countries. So most of crises and issues currently happen in Africa, presenting by Egypt as one of the major case states in the Democratic of Egypt in Africa generally. So the food crisis, which is one of the crises, is starting to rising after the COVID-19 and the pressure for the world economic crisis. That is, so most of the African countries suffer from different issues, economically affairs, and one of those food crisis. And as we all know, that is the Ukrainian-Russian crisis. Make more pressures for all the countries of the world, especially for the food storages, and especially for African countries was really suffering from that. So Egypt really actually tried to invest in using the forum of United Nations speech yesterday for let the whole world understanding the major of the food crisis in Africa, and try to asking for the work of world countries to try to participate and contribute to solve this crisis, especially in Egypt and especially in all African countries.
Indeed, the Egyptian speech at the UN General Assembly addressed by Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that Cairo has been committed to restraint over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam issue, but that does not mean complacency. How do you read the statement?
Actually, during the statement, we try to divide the problem for most of third countries and all world countries actually, which is suffering right now. One of that, as we are presenting in the first part of the today, talking about what is the food crisis we have and sustainable development. Especially, we invest mostly this forum to representing the role of the climate changes and the problems and the sustainable development. As we all know that as Egypt were going to host the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh next November. So one of the forums that representing to Egypt is trying to keeping this eyes for the sustainable development and at the same time to keeping working with the climate changes and problems all over the world. So we should try presenting this part, and especially the problem for the economic crisis and what happened, and at the same time for the shortages and happen for the water crisis. And we have one of the problems that Mr. Sameh Shoukry tried to emphasize during the speech, and Mr. Abdel Fattah Sisi, the President of Egypt, emphasized about that for most of the talks and international forums like United Nations, other meetings, to presenting the Egyptian views for Renaissance Dam problem, because we still keeping follow the international law rules and international keeping to working with the international community, regulations for the using this river and some rights for Egypt in River Nile. So that what the United Nations presenting during Mr. Sameh Shoukry speech emphasized about that rules and how Egypt is working during all the last months until now for using the peaceful ways to keeping talks with Ethiopia and other Nile Basin countries to find out a way for the fair solutions for this problem.
Yes. Sir, also, Cairo addressed the water scarcity, especially in the Middle East and Africa. How would you describe the fact that Africa is suffering of water scarcity?
Water scarcity, one of the most problems for all over the world, because we have shortages, not just for Africa, but as I'm just saying, like Egypt usually, has just a leading solutions for most of the countries, especially for Africa. And if we are working for that issues, we have like different visiting by Mr. Abdel Fattah Sisi, the President of Egypt, to Malaysia since 2 years. And the Egypt gets different kind of this experiments from Malaysia and other Asian countries for the water scarcity and the time. So representing this, I think during the United Nations speech, it was, just showed how Egypt tried to make like a mutual relation for African countries and for the region countries with other world countries to working together for the main crisis and main problems like water scarcity, and we could really find a good solution for that. Sure.
Indeed, Dr. Mohamed Abdel Azim, our political analyst and professor of political science. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us and for your precious input. And indeed, the Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry addressed the 77th round of the UN General Assembly, tackling Egypt's vision towards world crises and challenges. And echoing the African and other developing countries, Shoukry called for respecting the UN system, the activation of its role, and its restructure seriously and objectively to enable it to respond to the challenges the world faces and fulfill the demand of the world nations. Our dear viewers, with that we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Till tomorrow with another cruise. Goodbye. Many thanks for watching.